Welcome, friends. My name is Avinash Gorrakshakar, and I welcome all of you to another interesting episode of Konexio HighFlyers. Friends, in this kind of episodes, we introduce emerging companies in emerging businesses. And today, we have got a very interesting company to showcase, which has got a very differentiated kind of business model and which is growing quite rapidly. And the company's name is OK Play India Limited, and we have the pleasure and the privilege of having the top management team, Mr. Raghav Handa, who's the executive director of the company. Raghavji, welcome to the show, and thank you very much for sparing your valuable time with us today.
Thank you so much.
So, Raghavji, my first question to you is, if you could tell our viewers, in a very simple way, what is the business model of the company? What does the company manufacture? And if you could tell us, how has this company's business journey started? Like, how was this business started, by the promoters? And now, currently, what is the positioning of the company in the respective, three segments which you all operate? So, if you could add some color and start with this.
Sure, absolutely. So our company, OK Play India, goes back almost 3 decades, a little more than 3 decades. We started in 1989. Back then, the company was called Aqua Pure Containers Private Limited, where we made overhead water storage tanks by rotational molding. In 1992, we acquired a British company which was called OK Play, which was based out of London, and we bought over the company and renamed our company as OK Play. That's where the toys journey started for us uh, in 1992. In 1994, we launched our initial public offering, and close to about 2002, 2003, we ventured into the automotive segment, where we do a lot of plastic molded automotive components for heavy commercial vehicles, interior parts, exterior parts, fuel tanks, etc. In 2007 till 2010, we entered into a technical collaboration with a US based company called Solar Plastics, um, for a product which is the plastic molded fuel tank for heavy commercial vehicles. And as we stand today, we are the market leaders in that product category in India. Um, in 2015, we launched our third vertical, which is electric vehicles, where we do electric vehicles on the three-wheeler platform. And so these are mainly our three verticals, and the business model for each vertical is different. They're also headed by different professionals. Even the management split is between the three verticals independently. So if I talk about the toys business, initially when we had started, we were majorly into institutional selling. By that I mean schools or builders, right? So these institutions. Recently, we've launched a range of products for the modern retail segment, and we've also tied up with multiple large companies internationally for the export opportunity. For the automotive components business, we are tier one suppliers to a lot of Indian brands um, in the heavy commercial vehicle segment, the likes of Ashok Leyland, Volvo Eicher, JCB. We also export um, in Europe and other parts of the world in the automotive segment. And the electric vehicle business is both in the B2C and the B2B space, where we do retail through our dealerships, and we also sell to B2B clients, mainly the e-commerce segment for the last mile delivery, um, and also other B2B clients like Hindustan Petroleum or Indian Oil, so on and so forth. Primarily, these are three verticals of the company.
Okay. I think Raghavji very well articulated. Now, I want to understand on the auto component business. You said that you make, small external components for the commercial vehicle sector. If you could tell us, what is your capacity here, and which are the kind of companies where you supply your products. If you could add some color on this.
Yes. So the automotive component business, like I said, our main product is a fuel tank. Earlier, these fuel tanks used to come in metal or aluminum. We were the first company in India to convert them into a plastic molding technology using the rotational molding technology. That is our main product. Uh, Other than that, we also do, like I said, a lot of interior parts. So, for example, bus seats. We do a lot of consoles, dashboards, wheel arcs. So, any plastic component that you see in a heavy commercial vehicle or a bus, we would have a share in that segment. For the plastic fuel tank, we are the market leaders today. We are
Okay.
single source to Ashok Leland. We have close to about more than 85% share in Volvo Aisha. As we speak now, our trials are also going on at Tata's, which is the largest commercial vehicle player. Um, so, in terms of capacity, we have two plants. One is in the north, in Haryana. The second is in the south, in Ranipet, which is between Chennai and Bangalore. The plant utilization at the moment, the automotive segment per se, we manufacture both in the north and the south. South is 100% uh, auto manufacturing facility, and the north is close to about 60%. Um, Out of the 60% that we do in the north, close to about 80% is the utilization rate at the moment. And in the south, we are at close to about 70%.
Okay. Raghavji, now coming to your toy business, toy business has been a very old business for you. So, if you could tell us, in terms of competitive landscape, what is the positioning of OK Play India here, and what is the kind of active customers which you have here, and typically, how do you see this market evolving in India? Like, is it a very big market? What are the kind of growth triggers which are available here? If you could add some color on this and tell us.
Sure. So we are today the oldest uh, toy manufacturer in the country today. The toy market in itself is close to about 18,000 to 20,000 crores in India, the domestic market. Out of this entire pie, India as a manufacturer had a very small percentage until recently, which is close to about 5%. All the toys being sold in India out of the market of 20,000 crores, India was only manufacturing 5% of that. Recently, the government has stressed majorly upon India being a toy manufacturing hub, because of which a lot of norms have been put in place. So, for example, the BIS norm, where a lot of companies, all the toy manufacturing companies, both domestically and also internationally, who are selling in India, have to be BIS approved. So, this is sort of the push that the government is doing towards creating toy manufacturing hubs in India, right? So the toy market per se is both organized and unorganized. The organized market share would be close to about 6 to 8%, and the remainder would be the unorganized market.
Okay.
So as our strategy going forward, like I had mentioned, we were majorly into the institutional sales. But since there's a big push from the government and a lot of international brands are also coming into India to take the opportunity of the market size here. So we are now focusing on different product segments for the modern retail market, for the online e-commerce market. So if I talk about our recent customer acquisitions, we have tied up with Hamleys, which is known as the toy retail brand worldwide, which has recently been acquired by Reliance. They have close to about 150 stores in India, and our products are present in all the 150 stores as we speak today. We've also tied up with the largest toy manufacturer in the world, which is MG Entertainment. It's close to about a $10 billion group. They have a brand under the parent company, which is called Little Tykes. We've entered into a joint venture with them to be their contract manufacturer for this part of the world. By that I mean the Indian market, the Middle Eastern market, Australian market, and also the Chinese market. Uh, we have also tied up with a similar retailer based out of Australia, which is called Kmart. Uh, And the first lot of shipments have already been sent out, um, and we expect good orders coming in from there. We are also in talks with other international brands such as Walmart to explore that opportunity in the US and the Europe. So, our strategy from before being the institutional player has changed in the past 2 years. We're launching close to about 5 products every month, focus more on modern retail and the online, and also developing the toys that are required for these international players who are looking at getting contract manufacturing done from us in India.
Okay. No, I think very interesting, Raghavji. I think because I believe this is a very big opportunity. Obviously, OK Play India will play a very big role. Now, coming to your electric vehicle business, Raghavji, if you can tell us what is the plant capacity, what are the products which you make here, and here specifically, I want to understand. You in the presentation which the company has given after the Q4 numbers, they've said that Hindustan Petroleum, you all have a very close relationship with them. So, if you can explain how does this help the company in the electric vehicle business? So if you could share some thoughts on this question.
Sure. So let me start by telling you about the electric vehicle market in India, right? So if you see the numbers today, uh, the three-wheeler category is the largest growing in the electric vehicle space. The penetration today is close to about 55-56%, which means uh, from all the three-wheelers sold in India today, close to about 55-56% are electric. So it has already surpassed the IC engine market share today. That's where we are present. So there are two categories in the electric vehicle space that we work in. One is the L3, the e-rickshaws, shared mobility that you see falls under the L3 segment. And the second is the L5 segment, which comprises of the high-speed auto rickshaws for passenger and also the cargo vehicles. So today like I mentioned initially, we started in 2015. Since 2015 up till early last year, we were under the development phase. So we developed close to about 12 vehicles on the L3 platform, which comprises of passenger, cargoes, uh, loaders, garbage collectors, multi-utility vehicles, vending carts. On the L5 segment, we have two variants. One is the passenger variant, which is driver plus three for mid-mile mobility, and the second is the high speed and the high load cargo variant. So in total, we have 14 different vehicles, all on the three-wheeler platform. Uh, as far as HPCL goes, Hindustan Petroleum, to answer your question, so we have a long relationship with Hindustan Petroleum, which started close to about in 2018. Uh, where in 2019 they also invested in one of our subsidiary entities and took close to about a 5% equity share. Um, so the reason for doing this was to sort of reassure to us that we are their mobility partners to lead the electric vehicle change in their fleets across the various businesses that they have. One major business that they have is the LPG cylinders, delivery of LPG cylinders, which goes to households or industries, commercial applications. So today they have close to about 8,000 LPG distributors pan India. Each distributor uses anywhere from 5 to 10 three wheelers, which are today either CNG or diesel. So maybe a Piaggio Ape or a Bajaj Maxima. So a captive market demand of close to about 70,000, 80,000 vehicles is what they're using currently on the IC engine platform, which they want to change to electric. So that's where we're working with them, where we developed a vehicle specifically for this application, which is a very high payload carrying application going at a higher speed uh, using advanced lithium-ion batteries and other safety mechanisms which are required to deliver these LPG cylinders as per the law. So that's why we are working with them very closely, and now we've signed up with them for a pilot of 1,000 vehicles in Delhi NCR, for which we already have the orders in place. And soon we will be supplying these vehicles for the LPG delivery application.
Okay. Raghavji, one small question relating to the electric vehicle segment. If you could tell us, what was the kind of revenue we generated for the current year? That is FY23, numbers have come out. So if you can just tell us what is the revenue which has come from the electric vehicle segment.
See, like I mentioned, our electric vehicle business the commercialization of the electric vehicle business is fairly nascent. We started just selling our vehicles 4 months ago. The L3 versions per se, we
Okay.
sold in FY23, where we're creating a dealer network, right, pan India. So the sale which happened in the past 4 months was close to about 2.5 crores, which you also see in the results. But we expect this to grow substantially in FY24, and it's going to be an exponential growth. It's not going to be a normal CAGR of 15, 20, 25%. We expect a good return of growth of close to about 200% this year.
Understood. I think Raghavji, thank you for the inputs. Just wanted to understand that, in terms of capacity, Raghavji, will you be putting a lot of money on incremental capex, or is your capex, capacity good enough to take care at least for the next, 1 to 2 years in terms of volumes, which we are going to see in the coming 2 years?
See, since 2015 up till 2022, 2023 early, we invested heavily in the development of these vehicles, right? So when I talk about development, these are all tools or molds which are required to manufacture the vehicles at a mass scale level. So that development cost has already been incurred and invested, and everything is ready for us as we talk. What we need to focus on is now the sales and the growth related to the selling strategy. So there will be no further investment as far as capital is required for the plant or the machinery or the tools or the jigs, fixtures, so on. And we will be now focusing on the sales and the marketing strategy, where some amount of investment will go in. But since the business is being commercialized, so that will be funded through the accruals that we have from this business.
Okay, I think understood, Raghavji. Just one small query again. I just wanted to understand what would be the average ticket size for the electric three-wheeler which you sell to your customer. If you could give us some broad range.
So for the end consumer, the L3
Yeah,
segment
consumer.
sells depending on the vehicle type and the battery capacity mainly. It sells to the end consumer from anywhere from 1.2 lakhs till about 2 lakh rupees, the L3 segment. And the L5 would vary from 3.5 till about 4.5 lakhs.
Okay. And do you get some tax incentives, Raghavji, for these vehicles? I mean, since the government wants to promote electric vehicles, does the company get some tax benefits also? I mean, if at all?
So the company per se does not get any tax benefits. The end consumer gets a subsidy rebate. It's
Okay.
under the FAME 2 subsidy, which is faster
Okay.
adoption and manufacturing of electric
Okay.
vehicles. So
Okay.
FAME 1 was launched, and then FAME 2 was launched. So currently FAME 2 is going on, where there's a heavy subsidy. However, it's basis certain parameters that the OEM has to follow to manufacture the vehicles. And these subsidies are only offered to OEMs which manufacture the vehicles in India, which means even the components or the parts that go into the vehicle have to be manufactured or purchased from Indian manufacturers. So that is again to promote the manufacturing of electric vehicles in India per se, and to curb the exports which were earlier seen coming in from China. So we do qualify for all of our vehicles under the FAME 2 guidelines, which means that we manufacture our vehicles in India, the whole of it, or we purchase the components from Indian manufacturers. And the
Okay.
subsidy is offered to the end consumer, yes.
Okay. I think good to know that, Raghavji. Now, tell me one thing. We spoke about all the three businesses, the toy business, also the electric vehicle business, and the auto component business. Now, according to you, Raghavji, in the next, say, 2 to 3 years, which could be the, most strongest business segment for you? Because all three segments appear quite promising. But in your sense, if you were to cherry pick, which could be the biggest, business segments where, you all are very positive that over the next, say, 2 to 3 years, growth could be very strong, and the company would obviously benefit, because you all are present across all these three sectors.
Right. So see, we expect growth in all three segments. Of course, the quantum of growth varies from vertical to vertical. So if I talk about the toys segment, if you see our numbers from FY22 till FY23, In FY22, we were at a top line of 25 crores for the toy segment. By 23, we've achieved 45 crores, right? That's almost 90 to 100% growth. We expect a similar growth year on year in the toy segment for the next 4 to 5 years, right? If we talk about the auto segment, our sales are directly linked to the commercial vehicle market, right? So if you see after 2019, which is 2019 was the peak of the commercial vehicle market, post that it dropped, and then COVID came in, and now we've seen a similar market in FY23, where you also see our numbers growing from the results. Now we expect close to about 12 to 15% CAGR on the auto segment, which is directly linked to the commercial vehicle market CAGR. In the electric vehicle segment, because we've just commercialized just 4 to 5 months ago, like I said, our growth will be a multiple rather than a percentage CAGR growth. So we expect a multiple of close to about 5x in FY24 as compared to FY23 at the electric vehicle segment.
Okay. Now, Raghavji, I just wanted to understand, what is the kind of product differentiation which OK Play enjoys vis-a-vis other companies? Like, what is the most, important competitive kind of advantage or moat which, our company enjoys? Because you all have been very strong on the toy side, even on the electric vehicle side. So, in your assessment, what are the key positives for the company? If one were to look at it like, from your perspective, how competitively are you placed vis-a-vis other players who operate in the same product segments?
So again, I would have to answer this segment wise, toys, auto, and EV separately. But to give you a broad perspective about our core competence, which is plastic molding. When I talk about plastic molding, we specialize in rotational molding, which is a highly unique process, at least when we talk about Indian manufacturers. So we are not only known in India for rotational molding, but also internationally for our expertise in rotational molding. So if you see our product portfolio in toys, it's majorly rotational molding. Of course, we do a lot of blow molding and injection molding as well. Uh, for the automotive components, the fuel tanks being our major selling product in the automotive space, that's also rotational molded. And in even the electric vehicle segment, all the bodies that we do, except for the chassis, every part above the chassis, the body or the roof or the front fascia, that is also rotational molded. So our key competence is rotational molding. I think we are experts in that, and that's where our differentiation lies, where we can make high quality products, which are very durable, long lasting, um, and I think that's where a key advantage is today.
Okay. Understood. I think thank you for the reply. Raghavji, now one more thing I wanted to understand is that in terms of capital expenditure, fresh capital expenditure for FY24 for the coming year, any plans for the company to incur any major capex to increase capacities or possibly to invest in some designing, abilities? Anything which the company has on card? Because last year I believe about 8 or 8.5 crores of capex was incurred. So current year में what is the kind of expectation of capex? Some broad idea if you could give us.
So see, all our three verticals are increasing rapidly. There will be a substantial amount of investment going in on the toys front. Like I said, we've got on board three, four major international clients, right? We would need to increase capacity for our toy segment. We are also taking part in the PLI scheme launched by the government, and we are falling under the bracket of the 100 crore investment slab, which we are looking to invest in the next 3 to 4 years. So I can't clearly identify how much of the 100 crores in toys will be invested in FY24, 25, 26, but it will be split over 3 years, where we would be investing in a new facility in one of the toy manufacturing hubs, which are defined by the government, and that would be the investment in the toy segment. In the auto segment, we are looking at increasing our market share with multiple OEMs, and for the same, we need to be closer to the manufacturing plant of the OEM. So we are investing in a facility in Pithampur, primarily for Volvo Asia. So close to about 20 to 25 crores is something that we're investing in FY24 to set up that facility. For EV, like I said, we've already invested a substantial amount over the past 7 to 8 years. And now I don't see any further investment going in terms of capex in FY24 or 25. We're going to fuel the business with the sales that we achieve.
Okay. I think point taken, Raghavji. Now tell me one thing broadly. You mentioned about 25 crores is the broad capex. Which you mentioned. Any idea about how this will be funded? Partly internal accruals or some new debt which comes on the balance sheet. Will it be in on those
This
lines?
has already been started. If you're talking about the auto segment where 25 crores is required for the new facility, this has
Okay,
already been started, and
already.
this will all be funded through internal accruals.
So hopefully, when will this facility, this investment of 25 crores which you mentioned, hopefully when will we actually see, the unit commissioning, some sort of guidance for, when can we expect some revenues from the new capacity?
So hopefully within this financial year itself, FY24.
Okay, okay. And see now your financial year FY23 has closed. I mean, very strong numbers, Raghavji. First of all, congratulations for that. Now, tell me
Thank
one thing on the margin side, Raghavji. What is the kind of outlook? Because can we expect that with commercial vehicles doing well, electric vehicle business also taking off, the toy business also, you got some new clientele added in your kitty. So overall, when you talk about the blended EBITDA margins, can you at least not give us a number, but at least an outlook that how do you see the EBITDA margins panning out for the next, say, 12, 18 months? How does the scenario look?
Yes. So let me give you a split first of each segment. Um, in the toys, we enjoy a very healthy margin today. We did also enjoy a very healthy margin in FY23. Uh, with the new clients coming in for contract manufacturing and then international clients, the beta margins are expected to be dropped by a few points, but that is a trade-off between the revenue versus the beta margin. So I think that's a good trade-off that we're looking at. We can expect in the toy segment anywhere from 23 to 25% EBITDA margin
Okay,
going forward. In the auto segment, we can expect close to about 20 to 22%. And in the EV segment, we expect anywhere from 12 to 13%. So if I talk about the overall consolidated for the company, we should be close to about 18 to 20%.
okay, fine. Understood. I think thank you for the inputs, Raghavji. Now, tell me one thing on the working capital side, Raghavji. We have seen that a large amount of your money is invested in inventories. That's the number which we have been seeing. So, what is the main reason for this? First of all, tell us, and secondly, on the average working capital cycle, can we expect some improvement in the coming years, or will it be more or less in the same range because your business will be inventory heavy? So, if you could add some color and tell us about this.
See, if we talk about the toy segment, we are dealing with close to about 7 to 800 SKUs, right? Now there are multiple products we need work in progress for all of these SKUs, right? So that's why we see a high inventory in the toys. If we talk about the auto segment, like I mentioned, we have major market share with Ashok Leyland. We have been tier one, the single source supplier since the past 10 years. We have 85% market share with Volvo Asia. The raw material for the auto segment for the fuel tanks per se is imported. To avoid any issues coming up, right, we do keep higher than necessary stock in the auto segment to fulfill the demands of our esteemed clients. So yes, the working cycle capital for our auto business is close to about 45 to 50 days. In toys, we see close to about 30 days. I don't see this working cycle coming down for both the businesses as such, uh, because the SKUs in toys are also increasing, and of course, the business in auto is also increasing. We would be at similar levels going forward.
Okay. So I think point taken, Raghuji. Now, Raghuji, one more thing which I wanted to ask you in February 23, the company has issued some preferential warrants to the promoters and to some investors. If you could tell us, what is this money going to be used for? What is the objective of these funds? And, these funds which are coming in, I mean, is this some sort of a entry to for some institutional investors also to get in into your company? If you could share some highlights.
Sure. So see, the preferential shares were issued to SEBI Category A investors and also the promoters themselves. See, as part of the promoter family, we have a lot of faith in the business. We've seen a growth of 80% from 22 to 23. We would expect a similar growth going on forward year on year. So, for that reason, we've also issued certain professional shares to the promoter family and also SEBI category A investors. Uh, the proceeds of the funds will be used, of course, for the expansion in the two verticals, toys and auto. Like I mentioned, the plant is coming up in Pithampur. We might be looking at setting up another plant either in Pune or Jamshedpur for Tata's. We are in talks with them. And for the toys, we do need to set up a larger facility, expand our existing facility for the international clients. So the proceeds of the funds will be used towards expansion of both toys and auto.
Okay, fine. And post-COVID, Raghavji, now business has come back on track. Obviously, the scenario in the auto segment has also improved. So, for the coming, at least 24 and 25, are you hopeful that, revenue growth could be very strong? Like 22 to 23 has been very strong. But, on a very normal basis, can we assume that at least a 15-20% growth in the top line is achievable? I mean, if that number can be sustained at least for the next 2 years, because 80% growth is obviously very high, but as you go forward, can we expect at least a 15-20% growth in the top line over the next 2 years if hopefully the commercial vehicle sector goes better and better, and electric vehicles and the toy market also grows at a healthy pace? If you could just give us a broad range.
So on a conservative level, we do expect a growth of 50 to 60% from FY23 till 24. Again, that's on a conservative level. Um, where we sit today, all three verticals have a bright future. Um, and we can see that coming in month on month. So we do expect a substantial growth year on year.
And Raghavji, one more thing which I wanted to understand, from a business angle, is your business seasonal? Like, is the first half better than the second half, or is the third quarter better than the first two quarters? Any seasonality in your business, or is it basically a very stable kind of revenue all across all the 4 quarters?
So there was seasonality, especially when we were dealing with institutional players in the toy segment. They have their own buying cycles, right? The schools or the institutions or the builders. However, we've sort of de-risked ourselves from the seasonality perspective by introducing a range for the modern retail and the e-commerce segment, which is similar around the year. If we talk about the automotive segment, like I said, it's 100% dependent on the growth of the CV market, and there's not much of a seasonality in the CV market. For the electric vehicle market, is the same around the year, so we don't expect any seasonality concerns in the electric vehicle segment.
Fine. I think my last question, Raghavji, is that in our business, like every other business, what is the single most risk in our business? Like, everything looks okay. You're sounding very positive, which is very good. But, as a business, what is the kind of risk which you think is something which is the unknown? If you could share with us, like any risk which you see which can upset the business, if at all, if it happens.
So we did see the risk coming in, uh, which we identified close to about 3 to 4 years ago, right before COVID, I would say. So in the toy segment, yes, there was a risk uh, where we were only selling to institutions, and we might uh, lose out on the market share coming in because of the BIS norms and the Chinese imports being curbed. So we wanted a market share in that segment where we were not present. So by that I mean modern retail toy products or e-commerce toy products. So like I said, we are launching close to about 4 to 5 new products every month now to capture that market segment. So we sort of mitigated that risk and we're seeing good orders coming in from there, both from international clients, export market, also from the domestic market. Um, in the automotive segment, we were only present in the core automotive space, where our major product was a fuel tank, along with interior exterior parts, right? But now in the past 2 to 3 years, we've also ventured into non-automotive components. So, for example, industries like windmills, where we supply to, let's say, a company called Vestas. We do a lot of windmill covers in plastic molding. We're working for a company based out of Germany, which is Man and Human, where we do a filtration system for them, which is again plastic molding. So, per se, in the automotive space, we've already ventured into non-automotive product categories, and we mitigated our risk accordingly there. In the EV segment, I don't see any risk today in the product range that we have, because we've covered every application with the 14 vehicles that we have, which is served on a three-wheeler platform as such in India. Uh, so I think we're well positioned in terms of the risk factors that we have. We don't per se see any major risk coming our way after these recent developments in the past 3 to 4 years.
I think, Mr. Raghav, thank you very much for your valuable time. In fact, we had a wonderful, session with you. In fact, viewers, if you like the video, please like it and share it. And I think a lot of good information has been shared by Mr. Raghav. So, Raghavji, in conclusion, thank you very much and best wishes to you and your company. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.